Hi guys, my name is Danielle Lowinger. I am currently an engineer who also coaches at the local high school for both girls basketball and their also track and field team. I was a collegiate track and field athlete who was used to working out each day in a gym setting, working out with guys, doing heavy Olympic lifts and doing a lot of free weights. And since I love dropping weights and doing Olympic lifts, I went and built my own garage gym. So today I'm going to talk to you about what a garage gym is and what you can need in order to build it, and then also what will work for your home. In other words, are you going to be working out on the treadmill because you like to do that, or are you going to go for more of a substance and easier on your knees type of thing because you might be in a little older age, or you might have arthritis in your joints like I do, and go for that elliptical. So we're going to start with step number 1, which is determining what space is available. So, do you need to keep items stored in your garage besides your future workout machines, weights, and power rack? For example, I still need to fit one car inside my 2-car garage. Or you need to store your camping gear along one side of your garage. For me personally, we had a lot of stuff that was still stored in our garage, such as camping gear, and we also had a couple cabinets that had some food in it. And then we also had some of the tools that we use in and out throughout the house. So we had to make sure what available space we had. The next thing is how much room is left after you determine what needs to stay in the garage and what can be moved elsewhere. For example, my ceiling height in my garage is quite low. It was only 94 inches without the garage door open. And also my available floor space after I took into account all the tools, the food cabinets, and the storage for camping gear and everything else. We had a floor space that was an 18 foot by 10 foot. And also don't forget about clearances from your swinging cabinet doors, garage door sensor, garage door when it's open in the open position. Because another thing you'll find out is that if you forget to take into account when your garage door is open, it's going to cut off a couple inches. So if you buy a power rack or a machine that's 90 inches tall, and you'd only have a 90-inch tall garage, then you may not be able to fit it in there, and you just bought something that's worth thousands of dollars for no reason. So do your research, figure out what the height in your garage you can have without having any clearance issues, and then move to step number 2, which is what type of workouts are you going to do? Are you going to be doing cardio? Are you going to be running on a treadmill or elliptical? Are you going to be doing weightlifting? And what type of weightlifting? Are you looking up to bulk up or tone your muscles? So are you going to need a full-on power rack where you can do heavy squats? Are you going to need a lifting mat where you can drop the weight because you're doing a heavy deadlift? Or are you sitting there trying to tone your muscles where you can use more of a resistance band or light dumbbells? Once again, are you doing resistance training? Are you doing Pilates? Are you going to be doing yoga? You want to know what type of workouts you're going to be doing because it's going to dictate what you're going to need in your garage gym. Step number 3, what equipment will you need? For example, what type of machine do you enjoy for cardio? Is it the treadmill, the elliptical, stationary bike, rowing machine, or any other different type of machines that are out there? It could be a Stairmaster, or it could be one of those new ski machines that you ski back and forth. Do you want free weights or a machine? In other words, do you like using free weights, dumbbells, weighted plates, kettlebells, etc.? Or are you more of a person who's used to having a machine built in for it so you don't really have to think too much besides the functionality of the machine? So are you looking for a machine that's like an all-in-one lifting machine, like a Bowflex machine? Next thing is are you going to be doing Olympic lifting or dynamic lifting? And if you are, it's important to know what your space is going to need. For Olympic lifting, you're going to need a lifting mat. You're going to want floor mats to protect your floor underneath, whether it's concrete or wood. And also determine whether or not you want to be on the first story of your house or at the second story. If you're going to be dropping some heavy weights, you might not want to be on that second story. You might want to go first story. Next is a power rack or a bench. Those take up quite a bit of room and are necessary when you do Olympic lifting. Or when you're doing dynamic lifting, like a step-up box, a weighted vest, or a landmine attachment. In other words, are you going to be moving up and down vertically where it's more of a high-intensity workout? Next you also want to talk about additional items that may slip your mind. And the reason I mention these is these slip my mind until the last moment. Are you going to need a yoga mat because you want to sit and stretch out, but you don't want to sit on a hard surface? Are you going to need resistance bands or a balance board to work on that dynamic portions of your muscles? Are you going to need storage racks for your dumbbells, your plates, and your kettlebells? Or are you okay, like I am, just placing them on the floor out of the way? And last but not least, these are essentials, but a lot of people will forget about them. Are you going to need bar clamps? So if you're doing a push-up and your right arm's weaker than your left arm, then that bar tilts, so you don't want those plates falling off, so you're going to want some pair of bar clamps. Do you want the small plate weights? For me, there are certain weights where if you're going for that max rep, the difference between 2.5 pound weights versus 2 5-pound weights or 2 10-pound weights is a big deal. So are you going to want those smaller plate weights? And then also other items for functionality and for ease while you're doing weightlifting, such as a cushion neck wrap. For me, when I'm doing my squats, I have a sensitive neck, so I gotta have that cushion between my neck and that bar. All right, now we're going to move on to step number 4, which is after choosing which equipment that you want, lay it out and make sure that it fits in the space that's available. For example, you're going to take a blank piece of printer paper or graph paper and outline your total available space at a scale. I would suggest creating at least 4 of these. For example, using graphing paper, 1 square width is equal to 1 foot in real life. Trust me, this is going to be important that you're scaling it down, okay? Or, if you don't have graphing paper and you're using printer paper, mark every ½ inch, both vertically and horizontally, on the page to create a dot grid where each ½ inch is going to represent 1 foot in real life. Once again, you'll see why this is important. Next, you're going to use a highlighter or shade in with a pencil or pen and outline each piece of equipment as you want it laid out in your garage open space. For example, my treadmill was 42 inches by 72 inches, or 3.5 feet by 6 feet. So I had to shade in an area on the graph paper of 3.5 squares by 6 squares. Or if I was using the printer paper dot grid, my treadmill was still the same size, but I had to shade in an area of the dot grid that was 1.75 inches by 3 inches. You're going to keep repeating this step until all the equipment that you want is placed within your garage gym on a small scale. And once you get to this point, you're going to realize whether or not you have enough room in your garage gym to place all the equipment that you want. Which leads us to step number 5. Will the equipment fit in your space? So now that you have determined what equipment you wish to have in your completed garage gym, does it all fit? For example, I wanted my original gym to include a treadmill, slide board, power rack, bench, plate storage, dumbbell racks, step-up boxes, glute ham developer machine, and a rowing machine and Olympic mat. If it doesn't all fit in your available space, what equipment can you not do without and be able to make it fit in your space? So unfortunately, I found out that my space was just too small to fit all of my wishful equipment into my garage gym. So therefore, I ended up with reducing my equipment down to what I believe to be essential to my future workouts, which left a treadmill, power rack, bench, and 1 step-up box. Which then leads me to step 6. What equipment do you want to start with? Now that you have determined what equipment you wish to have and know that it will fit within your available space in your garage, what equipment do you want first? I ask this because you may not have enough funds to purchase each piece of equipment that you want all at one time. For example, I chose to include floor mats in my garage gym in order to keep my concrete floor and my future equipment from being damaged. So the quantity of floor mats needed were therefore purchased first, because I wanted to make sure I had my foundation placed first and then the equipment on top of it. Another one was I simply didn't have enough funds to purchase everything I wanted all at one time. So I had to divvy it up over a 3-month period. So I started off with the floor mats with 1 purchase. My second purchase was my treadmill. My third was the power rack. 4th, bench. 5th, dumbbells and weighted plates. 6 resistant bands and clamps, and last but not least, my step-up box and my weighted vest. You may also have several moments where you will second-guess yourself on whether you really need a piece of equipment once you see the price tag of the rest of the essential equipment. The goal is to start off with the essential equipment and build yourself over time don't feel like you have to bite off that big chunk first. Okay, start off with something essential. So if you're trying to get in shape and you want to work on your cardio first, get that treadmill, get that elliptical machine or your stationary bike. Get that first, so while you're waiting for the other equipment or you're waiting for your funds to be regenerated, you could still work out and could still do something useful for your body. Okay, all right, now we're going to move on to step number 7, which is assemble your garage gym. Once you start to get pieces of your equipment, lay them out in your garage per your markup you created in your step number 4. You may find that there may be a better way in which to place your equipment now that you have it physically in front of you. If you're in the waiting period between pieces of equipment, start acquainting yourself with what equipment you have and use it to your advantage, because after all, you did just pay a hefty price tag to pay for it. Next is step number 8. Use and enjoy your garage gym. This is the most important point, okay? Now that you spent all this money, you don't want to not use your own garage gym. Trust me, I didn't use my garage gym for the first 2 weeks, and I was sitting there going, well, that was a waste of money and time. But once I got in, it was worth it. So that's it. You went through the whole process, and what you are left with is your very own garage gym. Now it's up to you to use it. I would suggest that you start by learning how to properly use each piece of equipment if you do not have previous experience with that piece of equipment. If you don't know where to start, look to others around you and learn from their experience. You can mirror what they do or use it to create your own path. I would suggest looking on YouTube, and one of my favorite YouTube channels is that of Athlean-X. Jeff is a great mentor. He's a great guy to go look for because he does a lot of things with free weights, and he does it from any range from beginner to intermediate to master of different weightlifting. Okay, so look to your sources outside of yourself, be it a gym or people on YouTube or Facebook.